Hello and welcome to a sporting discussion, talking sports of all sorts, live across the universe from ASD Cloud Stadium, the newly named ASD Cloud Stadium. My name's AJ Mithen, back again, joined by the wonderful Andrew Donaldson. Andrew, how are you? Welcome back.
I'm on the cloud, baby. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. Do you know why I'm feeling great, AJ?
Is it because of your significant changes that you made in your life that have led to you leaning what? You lost 25 odd kilos, 30?
Oh, yeah.
You can tell the world. Come on, be proud.
Yeah, 35.
35. That's incredible.
Well,
well
look,
done. Played.
I certainly leaned into lockdown lifestyle in 2020 and would have stacked on 10 there. So
yeah,
I got rid of that and a few of its friends. So feeling good. But that's not why I'm feeling good, AJ. Why I'm feeling good is because I've been scrolling through Twitter today and yesterday, looking at how excited various sporting fans are getting, in this instance, AFL fans, over the performance of their team in practice matches. That's right. Awesome.
It's trial season, baby. Fun. When every young player is the next icon of the sport, when every team is a premiership chance, when everything is what were some of your favourites? What were some of your favourites?
Well, so we've gone from training the house down to now people putting their name up in lights. So Jason Horne-Francis, who was the number one draft pick, went to North Melbourne. He had an elite showing today, which was good to know.
What does that consist of? Because the team he was playing in lost by quite a deal. Not that matters in trial games. Results don't matter. Wow. What's the Drew Carey where the scores don't matter and
the points are made up and the scores don't matter.
Points are made up and the scores don't matter. That's right. Yes.
So I actually did want to get to that. So let's put a pin in that and come back to it because
I love it when you talk corporate.
Yeah, because I think there is something to what you said, but also I don't necessarily agree 100%. But yesterday, Essendon were playing, and Dylan Shield, who had a stinker of a season last year with injury, he had 20 centre bounce attendances, AJ, the equal most of anyone in his team. 20 centre bounce attendances.
Is that a thing now? Wow.
It's a massive thing. Do you know why? It's a big thing? And this is where I think a lot of the interest comes from is fantasy football. People want to know who's got to move to be a halfback flanker. So in a position where they might get more points, who takes the kickouts, and the big one, who attends centre bounces. But AJ, that does not
it's trials. They're trial games. That stuff's not going to be happening in real life.
Oh no, but it will though. They're trying things. They're not just out there getting some extra miles in their legs.
I do love to attend a good centre bounce.
Well, what they're trying is going, okay, we've practiced all preseason, and now it is time to put a few strategies in place. So Carlton and St Kilda played today, and it was a close game. And towards the end of the game, the teams, I think Carlton, it was in front. They did put numbers behind the ball, so they were trialing things. You can have as many 2 minutes on the clock training sessions as you want and pretend that you're a goal up, but your teammates
until you're actually a goal up and there's 2 minutes left. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a little bit to it, but I got to say though, I was watching some of it. I did flip over and I watched a quarter of the Carlton St Kilda game and a quarter of the North Melbourne game. But geez, there was a lot more people at those games than I thought there would be.
Yeah, heaps, wasn't it? Yep. Heaps. This is AFL we're talking, but in NRL rugby league trials also started last weekend, and some decent crowds there as well, which is good because they've just announced in Victoria that the AFL will be allowed to have 100% crowds in the stadiums until the next version or until we get nuked or whatever this,
until
what is happening in the world at the moment, Andrew. Until the
next bedwetting, until the next bedwetting by someone.
That's it. Oh my goodness, there's so much different stuff going on.
I'm not across my geopolitical issues to.
Well, why don't we use
about that?
Why don't we use that as a thing where I can do a little bit of a spruik for us here at a sporting discussion? We are live on a sportingdiscussion.com on our YouTube channel. I won't give you the URL because it's like a Russian bot Twitter handle. There's a lot of numbers and a couple of letters. We are live on @ASD_radio on Twitter. Now, if you're watching on Twitter, unfortunately, we can't see your comments down the bottom. So if you want to do a comment, do a reply to the live broadcast. If you could, Dan Jarvis has already done that. He wants me to predict when the Major League Baseball lockout will end. We'll get to that a little bit later, Dan. I'm pessimistic, but I'm positively pessimistic, if that makes sense. But anyway, so follow us there at ASD_Twitter or Facebook.com/a sporting discussion if you're watching us there too. If you're listening to the audio show, thank you. That's great. Make sure you get in touch with us. Give us a touch. Leave an audio message. We put the link up every now and again, but we don't do well unless we've got people asking questions and wanting to talk to us and wanting to get stuck in, which has happened a little bit over the last little week. And
we love questions. We love questions.
We love questions. We love rants. We love all of it. So at ASD_radio, Facebook.com/a sporting discussion, wherever you get your podcasts. If you're listening to the audio here, if you haven't subscribed, give it a whack, give it a subscribe. And also tell your friends, give us a review, and let's keep that rolling on. We've had a good time. We found out, we started this in 2016. Did you know that?
So that is 5.5 years, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Crikey.
Does it feel like that long? I've grown a beard in that time. But
No. 6 years is a long time. I've got to say, though, AJ, the last 2 years have felt like a month and a decade all in one. So
yeah, that's true.
Who knows?
You were talking about, lockdowns having a crack at the weight there. Well, lockdown 2 in Melbourne got me. Yes, boy.
Whatever people needed to do to get through lockdowns is.
I went from being a couch potato to a couch pumpkin.
as long as you got through the other side, that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's
AJ,
true.
I want to touch a little bit more on the concept of trial games and more to the point, preparation. So we've seen, let's go from, because we were just talking about the AFL, it previously had a preseason competition that was a night competition. And I think actually before that, the night competition was run during the season as well. And up until about the early to mid 90s, it was hotly contested. And then there was
lots of cash on the line to make it hotly contested.
Yes,
so teams that were battling, your St Kildas and your Carltons at the time, North Melbourne in particular, were really going hard to try and win that money at the start of the year because they knew they weren't going to be making finals, or if they did make finals, they weren't going to be making big fat stacks of cash throughout the year. So the preseason competition was their way to kind of fund the end of season trip and a few staff members during the year,
Absolutely. And I think it might have been the 1997 Wizard Cup that St Kilda won, where there's that picture of Grant Thomas and Lenny Hayes holding up the Premiership Cup with no smile. Grant Thomas said, "No, we don't show that we're happy here because we're only happy if we're win all business. the real stuff." And so, hey, fair enough. But that was the start of the end. And I think the final nail, because there were a lot of coaches saying, we don't really want it to be a full-on competition. We want to have practice matches. We want to have intense trials against other teams. When Paul Roos started taking players off the ground so that he had less than 18 players on the field because he didn't want to win a game.
Wasn't it? Yeah. Paul Roos, I think we've spoken about this before. I think he coached for the better part of 10, 15 years and would have won less than a palmful of preseason games.
Did not care. Did not care for them.
Yeah.
So the NRL preseason, is that run in a similar way? Is that a competition or just trial matches?
NRL trials are just that, trial matches. And some teams treat them with disregard and comedic contempt. Others take them quite seriously because they need to straighten up or learn the new rules properly or get fitness into a whole bunch of different people. But it was interesting watching the reactions to the NRL trial games was so funny because NRL media tends to just be bananas about everything. So, say the Raiders game, for example, they got a young fella, Xavier Savage, who's playing fullback and did quite well in the trial. He's not it's Chance Nickel Klukstar, who is the incumbent. He's not being knocked out of fullback at all, but one decent game against the Roosters, and it was the Roosters playing 19 senior football debutants. And all of a sudden, the discussion during the week was, oh, wow, I wonder if they're going to give the fullback position to Savage and get rid of CNK or put him in another position. And it's just not happening. But it also, and then it brought up, lots of people went to the trial game on a Monday night. Why aren't we playing Monday night football during the year? All sorts of just insipid rubbish takes like that come from the NRL and came out of the trials. And setting aside the fans and how excited they get, and there's so much. There's too much put on the performances and the results, depending on what's going. Because remember, the NRL season's sort of like 25 weeks plus finals, so there's a hell of a long way to go. And who knows what's going to happen with Rona, and who knows what's going to happen with Vlandis changing the rules or doing something like that. So, yeah, but I love a good overreaction to a preseason game.
And we've got a potential overreaction coming up this weekend as well. So the Super Netball comp kicks off in a couple of weeks, but we've got what's it called? The Team Girls.
The Team
Cup.
Girls, yeah.
Yeah, which is their preseason comp, which is 3 days, and it's a round robin. They've got shorter quarters, so 10-minute quarters, and I'm looking forward to the overreactions there of various teams. And again, look, there's already been a few players that have been announced as not playing. I do wonder with
and it doesn't matter.
No. So I'm always curious, especially the last couple of years where there's been such interruption to the seasons, whether that's been taken into account with all of the training that the clubs are doing, if they're trying to make sure that the players have got some sort of regularity in their training, or if they're trying to mimic a completely buggered up season and going, okay, we're going to have 3 days in a row of hard training and then 2 days off and then have a hard session and then not. I don't think they would, but it was just a thought that popped into my mind as to whether it was in the interests of the club to start training for that variety or that volatility in and because we've already seen it. We've seen it in the A-League, not just with COVID, but with the weather. So a couple of games in Southeast Queensland this weekend have been or are being pushed back because the Brisbane Roar and Melbourne Victory match because of forecast
28th, I think it is. Yeah.
So heavy rain and storms have been in Southeast Queensland this week and are expected to continue. So they postponed it before Melbourne was due to fly out of
well, that's
Melbourne.
helpful. That's nice.
Yes, because imagine that you're on the plane and they get told, there's too much of a storm to play, but it's okay. This plane's going to go through that storm and you'll be sweet.
You'll be all right. Yeah, don't worry about it. We might stick with A-League for a sec, Andrew.
Yes.
Moving on from trial games. And don't forget, if you're watching on facebook.com/the sporting discussion or at ASD_radio on Twitter, leave us a comment, have a chat, get in touch. We're keen to talk, keen to rouse. If you've got a rant, let it rip. Why not? But yes, Andrew, one thing that is rant worthy, the A-League Channel 10 Paramount Plus deal, which at the time was hailed as a game changer for the local product because it's a lot of money, coverage of every game, free to air, and everything that comes with it, and injection of funding, all of that sort of thing. However, things have gone a little bit pear-shaped with the the deal itself. The streaming service is copying it, but any streaming service that does sport in Australia is going to cop it. But there's some pretty fundamental stuff that you expect in sport streaming that you don't get with Paramount Plus for the A-League, in that if you come into a game halfway through, you can't go back to the start and watch it from there. You have to come in where you came in and watch it all the way through, notwithstanding technical issues and all that sort of thing. But what I want to talk about is the free-to-air aspect of it, where referees were being instructed by a production crew to call drinks breaks so that they could run ads. And that would be around a 90 second, 2 minute thing. And now, as a rule, football, soccer has 2 45-minute halves plus injury time, and they are usually shown uninterrupted. But the deal the A-Leagues, men and women, signed with Channel 10 and Paramount was that they would be able to have ad breaks during play. Now, the coaches in the leagues were tipped off about that before the season, but it wasn't apparent to fans until recently, when there was a game in torrential rain between, I think it was Sydney and Brisbane, or Sydney and Sydney and Western United, and they still stopped to have a drinks break in the middle of a torrential downpour so that they could have ads. Now, there's also concerns that the video referee, the VAR system, is being abused to show more advertising as well. I think I'm not really convinced on that, because the VAR system breaks to check the video are going for up to 10 minutes, Andrew, which is
and they're still getting the decisions wrong.
And they're still getting them wrong. It's absolutely insane.
Melbourne City against the Mariners.
Mariners, yeah.
The other night, I actually just was looking then. The ref Sean Evans could actually be dumped from the upcoming.
I can give you some breaking news. He has not. He's actually going to be refereeing the Melbourne Victory versus Sydney FC game. The big blue. You like this? This is a quote from the APL chief Danny Townsend, who is the head of the A-Leagues in Australia. He suggested an agreement had been reached with Channel 10 to not use drink breaks to run commercials. From the moment that started to play out, our commitment was to sit down with 10 and work out a solution to ensure that didn't happen again. After further conversations today, we had a mutual commitment. We won't be having those breaks in play, premeditated breaks in play. Absolutely ridiculous, but they're still saying that they will allow at least one break per live game as part of the 5-year deal. Now, what baffles me about this is we see advertising in live sport all the time, whether it's a little inset with an ad underneath, whether it's even back in the 80s when the one-day cricket and the test matches were on, we used to get a scrolling ad along the bottom.
Taubman's paint.
You can pull the main picture out and put a picture-in-picture which has an ad. This happens everywhere. Why wasn't that? Why aren't they using that? Why do they have to, mess with the product to put ads in, and all they're doing is pissing people off?
Yeah, I have no answer. I know that the Indian Premier League, the cricket tournament, they have a strategic timeout, which is clearly used for ads. But doesn't the NFL also have a broadcaster's timeout or something?
Yeah, TV timeouts and that same. And there's also the 2-minute warning, which in the second and fourth quarters, when there's 2 minutes to go, the game stops.
Right.
For no
known.
Real reason other than that's known. Yeah. Other than
so I think that's the difference. Like that's known, and everyone goes.
Major League
TV
Baseball
timeout.
has some TV timeouts as well, but you don't have it when. And referees, speaking on the condition of anonymity, were talking to the Channel 9 papers here, saying that they didn't like trying to find somewhere to stop the game so that they could have commercials, because it wrecks with the flow, it annoys the players, and everyone blames the ref for doing it.
Yep. Yeah.
It's so bizarre to me that they would. Why would you buy that product?
Yeah.
And then try to do that? You can get so much more advertising in there if you're just going to roll it along using the technology available to you, rather than forcing the play to stop and then rolling your ads over the top. Just dumb to me.
Go to the banana boat scoreboard.
Yeah.
And just go, and what a left peg by I don't even know, but blah, blah. And if you want to work on your left peg, go down to the Maribyrnong Football Academy,
where left pegs are us. Yeah.
Yeah. It just
there's easy stuff to do. Oh, radio is littered with it. Everything is sponsored or there's advertisements everywhere. Everything. If you listen to an AFL game on SDN, for example, everything. Like I'm holding a Mr. and Mrs. Fish and Chips microphone. We're about to start the second quarter, which, as you all know, is the Sporting Discussion quarter, brought to you by a Sporting Discussion. All of that crap, which is whatever. You got to pay the bills. You got to get your cash. So
yeah,
the better way to get to work ads in there. It's just so easy, and I think I caught it mind-boggling already. It makes no sense to me whatsoever why they chose to do that way, and more importantly, why the APLs agreed to it.
Yeah, the thing that gets me, why did they not announce it at the start of the year? Just say, make a big deal of it. We are going to have a drinks break at the first break after 22 minutes, and it'll be an opportunity for the players to regroup, to receive tactics from their coach. It'll also provide an opportunity for the broadcaster to put in additional advertisements to support the funding. Just be upfront with it.
You know what makes that interesting, though, is that FIFA doesn't let you do that. What they're doing is against the FIFA regulations for for playing a game of football. So
right.
And also VAR as well, which is causing so much trouble and grief at the moment, is an optional thing that the A-Leagues agreed to do as kind of a trial thing for FIFA and then just stuck with it. So they're under no obligation to keep it, but obviously the system isn't wrong. The person looking at the video screen is more often than not the one who's causing a problem, because if this Evans one on Saturday night, was it? I can't remember when it was, but whenever it was, the City versus Mariners game, VAR doesn't get involved unless it's kind of a virtual. Are you sure about that? They're not saying, "Hey, come and look at this because you nailed it." They're saying you need to come and look at this, mate.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. It's, hey, ref, come and have a look at the TV and reassess your decision. It's not like in the cricket where it's third umpire, I want you to look at this. And on that, I think that on both of those occasions, the VAR and also the third umpire in the cricket, I think there needs to be people that are trained properly in that side of the game. Just because, let's go with the cricket example, just because you are a good on-field umpire, that doesn't mean that you understand the technology that is used for hotspot or for Snicko. And there's been a couple of instances recently and also over the past any number of years where a decision's been made which hasn't seemed to line up with what we're seeing. And whether that be there's a mark on a bat that's ignored, or the timing of a spike doesn't necessarily line up, and the third umpire is awkwardly explaining about the delay in sound, which someone who is trained in it would be able to say exactly why this spike is not exactly when the ball passes the glove, but it is when it does signify the ball hitting the glove. So Adam Collins has been big on this for a number of years about the need for third umpires in cricket, and then I'll expand that to be television umpires across all sports to be trained in that. You don't have to be the best on-field umpire. You need to be the best television umpire.
Well, yeah. And also, it's an interesting one. NRL is the same with the video ref, where there is a soft call or there is a decision made before it goes to the video, and then the video is to decide. You need the specific, what's it called? There has to be no doubt that the decision was wrong.
Yes. So
otherwise, it can't be overturned. I've butchered that, but you all understand what I'm trying to say. And in the NRL, they'll send something up as try or no try. They can't go, can you just have a look at this and please tell me what happened? And
right.
Can you look at this and please tell me what happened is probably the best use of the technology rather than I think it's a try, prove me wrong.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, completely agree. So especially where the ref might just not be in the right position. And the reason they're going upstairs is because there was a massive, like, sort of scrum almost of players that have just fallen over the line, and the ball's there.
They do that in union every now and again.
Yeah.
When there's a mega scrum over the try line, often ref will pull it up and say, all right, we're just going to have a look here because I think he scored a try, but I need you to look because I've got no idea, basically.
But they're also, like, referees in rugby are a lot more pragmatic than in any other sport. It is the best refereed game in the world. I just love how calm they are.
Jeez, they'll come for you after that.
Oh, no dramas. They might get decisions wrong.
It's also helped by the forced respect that's drilled into the players from when they are children.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
dearie me.
Right.
You mentioned netball.
Yes. Yeah, I did.
You mentioned netball. The announcement yesterday that our very good friend of the show, Aaron Delahunty, was at the best freelance netball journo in the world, was at the Fox Netball launch yesterday because Fox Sports in Australia have taken the rights to the Super Netball League. Going to be a 5-year deal on Fox Sports and KO. Midweek shows, highlights shows, marquee shows, they're calling it. Centre Circle, a 1-hour look at life on and off the court for star players and showcase some star players. And then there's a show called Pivot, a 1-hour live wrap-up that begins straight after the final game of a round on Sunday, where they'll talk about the round and everything that just happened. So that's really good. So you can watch the final game on the Sunday and sit in your chair and enjoy a wrap of the year. Every game is going to be available free on KO freebies, including the final series and the grand final, which is pretty good.
Every game.
Season starts on March 26th. Now, there was one thing I didn't mention in all of that, Andrew, and what was it?
You didn't mention. I was going to say you didn't mention Netball Supercoach. Cash. Here, no cash.
There has been no announcement of actually how much Fox Sports are ponying up for this, and it's got to be. It's kind of netball folks love it, love the coverage. They love what's coming, and they love everything that's coming up because Fox do a pretty good job of stuff. They get the right people and the experts to talk about it and that sort of thing. And if they're paying for something, they're fully into it. And if they're not paying for something, it might as well not exist. Ask a Super Rugby fan or an A-League fan. So they will go hard to promote their own product. But what we don't know is, we know it's 5 years, but the amount of money was undisclosed when it was announced. The amount of money was undisclosed. However, it was said to be significantly larger than Channel 9's, Channel 9's effort, who had the rights prior. How much did Channel 9 put in? That too was undisclosed. So we have no idea how much money is being pumped into Aussie netball at the moment through this broadcast deal, but it has to be a decent amount because the players netball players in Australia are the best paid female athletes in the country, setting aside, your Sam Kerrs and all those people playing overseas. But yes, so it's just curious, isn't it, that they would feel they didn't need to sing from the rooftops about how much money their sport was worth in the eyes of the broadcaster.
Yeah, that is. Is it a big issue? Don't know. Because
it can be because you get your credibility. This is not just netball we're talking about. Your sport gets your credibility from your broadcast deal, and that's your value basically in the market. So yes, I don't understand why it would be undisclosed. Having never gone into a sporting broadcast rights deal before, but I would have thought Netball Australia should be just blasting it across the universe about how much they got. But
how much?
Yeah.
Yeah. So whilst you're okay. Sorry, I don't think I'd quite understood what you were talking about with the broadcast, because I was trying to think of what I recalled from, I think, December when it was announced. Like, there's a difference between KO and KO freebies. So every game on KO, but the Tuesday and Sunday games are the KO freebie games, or at least that was the original announcement. And then the finals and grand finals streaming on freebies as well. So if your team happens to play a lot of Tuesday and Sunday games, then that's good. But if they don't necessarily have the Sunday or the Tuesday game, then you still might not see them. I know that the Queensland Firebirds get a good run on that, so they've got.
Yeah, you're right. I misread that, but it only says every Sunday game. It doesn't say Sundays and Tuesdays. It just says every Sunday game will be on the freebies.
So I think the Tuesday one is. So when the initial announcement came out, it was because I had a look, and I think the Queensland Firebirds get the best run in the first half of the season, because they'll have a Sunday game on round 1, round 3, round 5, and round 6, and a Tuesday game on round 4, which means 5 of their first 6 matches will be shown on freebies, which is great for them. And obviously there's other clubs will have a decent amount, but I think they get the best deal there, which will be very good for them. But it's going to be I'm fascinated to see how many people download KO freebies, because I was talking to my sister who doesn't have the KO, and there was, I think, maybe a cricket match, or there was something on KO freebies that was not on free to air, and she was talking about it, and that my nephew wanted to watch it. But when I said it was on KO freebies, she just went, nah, too hard. So
it's not a separate app. You just download KO and it's one of the options. But anyway, we're not here. Like we say every time, Andrew, we don't talk about something unless they're going to pay us, and KO is definitely not paying us. So shall we move on away from the undisclosed netball broadcast deal, or have you got something else you want to chuck in?
No. So before we went to netball, we talked about the rugby and the poor behaviour being stamped out in rugby very early, with the relationship between the referees and the players. And I wanted to talk about poor behaviour. I wanted to talk about poor behaviour on a tennis court. And
Toolie.
Alexander Zverev.
What a
playing
clown.
in a doubles tournament. There was I'm not sure which. I'm trying to find which actual tournament it was, but the Acapulco tournament. He was playing in the singles and the doubles, and he lost his mind in the doubles. He just during the game, there was a ball that was called out, and he was saying it was in, and he was swearing at the referee or the
really
umpire
letting it fly with the F-bombs at the umpire, which is rare. Normally it's frickins and dangits but he was absolutely let him rip with "you're a dumb F, you stupid MF," Wow.
And then he went one step. Well, I was going to say, but then he went one step further, and as he was walking off the court, he, with his racket, just belted the umpire's chair, and you could see the chair umpire like pull his foot back and just go, "Hey, this is not
funny
right."
Thing is, one of the calls he was MFing about and all that. There's photos of it. It was in by a mile, and he's screaming that it's out. But he's got form as a bit of a hothead, and I use hothead very generically, because he was also accused of some pretty hefty things a few years back regarding his partner at the time.
Yes.
I've been, before I say anything about what was accused, I've been trying to find out what happened, what came of it, and all I can find is that allegations of him against his former partner were investigated and ... I can't find anything else. Whether it was there or not, I can't find it. But
no,
yes.
So Ben Rothenberg has been following that up the last couple of weeks to try to find what has happened, and there's been nothing. So that's you can make up your own mind.
He doesn't seem like a pleasant dude, does he?
No. But hey, look, he's put out a statement saying that he regretted his actions. It's difficult to put into words. Yeah, it's difficult to put into words how much I regret my behaviour during and after the doubles match yesterday. I've privately apologised to the chair umpire because my outburst towards him was wrong and unacceptable, and I'm only disappointed in myself. It should not have happened. There's no excuse. I'd like to apologise to my fans, the tournament, and the sport I love. You know what? Beat it. You're a wanker.
Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. He's the thing, I guess what's going to come of this, Andrew, is there a sport that panders to its players more than tennis? Because I think he will probably get, well, let's do a contrast. Nick Kyrgios, I think, received something like a 16-week suspension for throwing a racket and yelling and swearing. This is worlds apart from that, and he should be expected to take a seat for at least a year for mine.
You can't attack the chair.
You can't attack the umpire.
And the umpire's chair.
Never mind. I mean, he should have copped a little bit he should cop a month or so for the mouth in the first place. But he's he's in the top 10 in the world. I can't remember exactly which one he is, and tennis is notorious for softly handling its players in the discipline area. So it wouldn't surprise me if he gets like a token sort of thing that means he's back within 3 to 6 months, and they'll think that's some sort of big deal. I mean, I'd fine the arse out of him, sit him down for a year, or say, go away, come back when you've completed a whole bunch of stuff and you can prove to us that you're not a dickhead anymore.
So
the first sign of dickheadedness, you're gone.
I'd do all of that. I would say you need anger management. You need a significant fine, and I'm thinking I don't even know what significant is for the world number 3 tennis player. 50 grand or 100 grand sounds like a lot, but is it? Not sure. But 12 months out.
That's a third of a first round exit at a Grand Slam, Andrew.
Yeah.
Zverev is worth $30.3 million in prize money he has won.
Yeah, so it's got to be the money is going to be the least of his concerns. I think banning him for 9 to 12 months is the right thing to do, and also say, mate, you've got to go to anger management.
A quasi fine as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Kind of, if you sit him for a year, he's going to miss 5-10 million in earnings depending how he goes.
Yeah, well, he'll miss 3 majors. If they do till the end of this year, and all 4 if they do 12 months. So yeah, but just beat it, mate. I can't have it. AJ, on to better things, but also slightly amusing things. The Women's Cricket World Cup. I just want to touch on something that has come out today. So that kicks off on the 4th of March. Australia's first game is on the 5th. And that is, what's that, in a week and a half's time. It kicks off Friday the 4th of March. It's in New Zealand. New Zealand is going through a fair whack of COVID issues at the moment. They are under what's called a red traffic system, which puts some restrictions on movements and large gatherings, including sporting events. They've got 6,000 new cases, which is a new high for them. But the ICC have said that teams might have to call, or will be able to call, on support staff as substitute fielders, and matches could go ahead with just 9 players available.
Oh wow! And New Zealand's coronavirus stuff makes that highly likely for some teams.
Yes. Yeah. So there's already been a couple of players that that have tested positive, and the one in it was either a New Zealand or Indian player because they missed out on the most recent one-day match that they're playing, and hopefully they'll be right for the start of the tournament. But yeah, so ICC said female members of a team's support staff would be permitted to field, but not bat or bowl in the case of a significant COVID outbreak. Now, I think that...
Why can't they bat?
I don't
know.
Because
who gives a shit if they can field?
Because they're not part of the 15.
This is a global pandemic, New Zealand, and the ICC. They're going to need.
So Shelley Nitschke,
does that mean they're going to send coronavirus-riddled players or quarantining players out there to bat, or they can come on and bowl? So they'll play with 9 and 2
9 will be able to
fielders.
Bat. 9 can bat, 9 can bowl.
That's mad.
So yeah, Australia has Shelley Nitschke.
I didn't know about that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's the best. It's so dumb.
Well, just have it here. Get everyone on a plane and ship them over here.
Yes. So Shelley Nitschke last played for Australia 10 years ago. She was in the WBBL 5 years ago. She's part of Australia's coaching staff. So, hopefully she's been keeping her fitness regime up.
You reckon they'll be pumping the reps into their support staff? Get them in the slips here. Catch this. Yes, catch this.
You'd hope that a lot of the support staff are cricketers, and they are in the couple of the Australian ones are. But I do know that there's been heaps of instances of a non-squad player coming on as a sub fielder, particularly in overseas tours. But that's a sub fielder, and then the batter can still go, and it's not a bloody World Cup.
That's ridiculous.
So look, hopefully
that's comedic stuff. Really,
it is. Hopefully, it doesn't come.
Oh, it will. It'll happen. It'll happen. And now that I know it can happen, Andrew, I want it to happen.
Yeah.
just for the chaos.
Chaos
and the comedy, which is why we watch sport.
And Shelley Nitschke to take an absolute screamer to win a game. Do a Gary Pratt running out Ricky Ponting. Yeah. Gary Pratt, who's never seen or heard from again. We're not far from wrapping up, Andrew, but just to come back to Dan Jarvis's question before about the Major League Baseball. Oh, yes.
CBA is a 1985 Chicago White Sox jersey. That means nothing to people listening, but you can Google it to see what it looks like. Right now,
baseball loves a lockout.
Oh, if the best kind of sporting action, Andrew, is industrial action. And at the moment, the Major League's owners have locked the players and coaches and, everyone out of their facilities. It's been done for a couple of months. It seems to happen every second year. Well, it's ridiculous the amount of crap. Remember, in the 94-95 season, if I remember correctly, was wiped out from a player strike. But that was for significant changes they were looking for to their bargaining agreement. This one is just it's the baseball being baseball. It's such technical stuff around years of service and when players can be activated and what minimum wage is and a whole bunch of other things, because minimum wage in baseball is something like $570,000, which sounds great. It sounds great to you and me, but you got to remember minor league players are coming off an annual salary of like $8,000 if they're lucky. The biggest payment at the moment is Max Scherzer, who's getting $40 million a season. So minimum wage is $500,000, but that still lags behind in the big four of US sports. Baseball is the least by a long way. So there's a lot of stuff they need to sort out. Now, what happened during just today our time, was that the MLB, let's call it, what are they called? The league, the owners, the admin, set a 28th of February deadline for a decision to be made. Here we go. I've finally found it, so I'll stop padding awkwardly. A Major League Baseball this is Evan Drellich on Twitter, who is a reporter, senior writer for The Athletic. A Major League Baseball spokesperson said tonight that if a deal is not in place by Feb 28, regular season games will be cancelled. Player pay would not be recouped, nor would those games be rescheduled. The full statement is a deadline is a deadline. Missed games are missed games. Salary will not be paid for those games. So spring training is supposed to start in the next little bit, which is usually a month long progress. I don't think either party really worries if they miss spring training, but opening day is supposed to be March 31. And that is we're approaching the time where they can't get enough work in to be ready to go on opening day. So
give us a percentage.
I actually think they'll get something done.
So you reckon 100% they'll play on 31 March?
Probably 65.
Okay.
But that's, because there's such a debacle, the relationship between the league and the union and the players and the owners. 65, and I don't say that like with a big smile on my face either. I want them to be playing. Everyone wants them to be playing, but I worry about the long-term impacts of people going, well, you know what, you can all go get, I don't care. I've got plenty of other things I can watch rather than this. Especially when the big thing over in the States has been, it's millionaires versus billionaires, but it's a little different to that because there's, like I said, the minimum wage is so low and minor league players get absolutely bugger all. And one of the things that the league was trying to do was squeeze the number of players on a roster in a minor leagues, or switch something else that meant that the owners didn't have to spend as much money on the minor leagues. Basically, the long and the short of it is the owners don't want to spend any more than they have to. And the gains that have come from the last agreement that the players are looking for are really, really quite, if I heard it really put really well by Josh Nelson, who's on the Soccer Machine podcast. He said if the owners actually had a clue about the deal they were looking at from the players, they would sign it tomorrow because it's so low compared to what it actually should be to for indexation, improve cost of living, all of that sort of stuff. The owners are pissing and farting around over like $15-20 million. And this is, I think it worked out that it was something like if they sell, this is Josh Nelson again saying, if they sold something like 23 extra tickets per player, that money would be made back. So now, so it's just a big dick swinging competition at the moment between people who don't like to lose. So that's why I'm 65. I'm kind of trying to stay on the positive side of the fence, but
there is still a possibility of it all blowing up. Yeah.
There's egos and bullshit involved. So yes.
And so I won't go into it now, but the one that I'm interested in terms of the new CBA is in the AFL, because the men's and women's competition will have a joint CBA for this next coming, which is going to be fascinating because 4 new teams coming in for next season. I don't know how they're going to do the draft. I think they need to do a complete spill and fill, like an IPL style mega auction. Existing teams get to keep 4 players.
But it'd have to be region based, wouldn't it?
Still region based, yeah.
Unless they're planning on unless they're planning on all of a sudden making the thing full time and full professional.
Oh, that's part of my thing is I've got a spreadsheet going so I can work out that $40 million will, instead of the $13 million that they currently spend, will mean that you can have 2.5 times the salary that they get now, which is still not enough, but it starts to allow people to be full time. And
that's a crypto sponsorship. And that is a topic we will get into another time, Andrew, because we've run out of time.
I was going to say, let's stop there. Because I don't even know
there is one more thing. Sorry, the time.
I'm not talking crypto.
No, Stu McLennan, our good friend, contacted us from Korea, wanting to know what the appropriate number of captains for a sporting discussion is, because during the week the NRL's West's Tigers announced a 5-man leadership group who would rotate the captaincy. Now, it all makes sense to me. I don't have a problem with it, but all of a sudden, like I said, NRL media, and I was like, oh, they don't know what they're doing. There's a leadership vacuum, and that's why they have to have 5 captains, even though it's not 5 captains, and all of that sort of thing. So, what do you reckon? What's the answer for Stu? How many people do we need to keep us on track?
It depends. It depends what sport we're playing. If we're just doing podcasts, then I'm happy to have either 1 or 2 or none. But if we're playing, if we were playing football, I can captain an Aussie rules game. If we're playing cricket, I can't captain. I've been captain before, and I am a terrible cricket captain. So it all depends on what activity we'll be doing. If it's podcasting, then I think that we are both mature enough to be co-captains.
Yeah.
Or Stu can be captain if he wants to, and we can just do what we do anyway, because it won't change anything.
Actually, that's a good idea. Stu McLennan, we're hereby appoint you captain of a sporting discussion over in, I think he's in Incheon, South Korea. So please let us know what you need us to do next, and we will get cracking on it. But that will do us.
We won't do it. We'll do what we were going to do anyway.
We will. What do I say at work? I will endeavour to try. All right, that'll do us for now. We will endeavour to try to come back next week because we have been off for a little bit of a break, but that's all good. Remember, we are on Twitter at ASD_radio or Facebook.com/sporting discussion. There's also a Facebook group, sporting discussion forum. You can join and have a chat. There's some good stuff in there, which is always good fun. We have our passion project website, www.sportingdiscussion.com.au. And if you're listening to the audio version, we thank you for that as well. Remember, like we said before, rate, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Even if you think it's rubbish, share with your friends for a hate listen, because we do love hate listens as well as we love listens. Yeah, that came out all right. That might do us for now. Andrew, we're going to hear you on 7:15 a.m. Monday morning on 3RRR Radio in Melbourne.
102.7 on your dial, or rrr.org.au, and AJ on ABC Central Victoria at about 7:35 on Monday.
That's right, 7:35 Monday mornings. That's 91.1 FM if you're in Victoria, or you can go to the ABC Listen app and search for ABC Central Victoria. It's good fun in the morning show with Fiona Parker. All right, that'll do us. Thanks very much, Andrew. Thanks, everybody. We will talk to you soon.
See ya.